is really a development that Baal Hashem Tov, 18th century Hasidic, sort of introduced into how to think about it. Is to think about word as an arc, in terms of that it has three levels of perception. The first perception is worlds. What it means, it has to do, it cannot be the world that we are in. It's actually, one can say, a rescue level, which is the world, the spiritual world, our rescue level, because an ark is built in order to sort of protect and carries us over and above the tribulation of existence. So you can say that the real meaning of language does not start in the way we use it. It starts when we enter some sort of, I would say, form or structure that is saying to us, or at least we declare in it, and this has to do with surrender, that we declare ourselves that that surrounding and the environment of existence actually compels us to be in such darkness and limitation that we cannot even perceive who we are, where we came from, and definitely we cannot perceive anything to do with, let's say, the plan of the creator. So the use of language is separative in the beginning, because if the language is an arc of to rescue and to carry us to a different world, not that we will not exist there, but it's a different reality of perception. So the first thing, it separates, and then it gives us a sense of what is world in Hebrew. World in Hebrew is what is concealed from you, and how can you elevate yourself to actually reveal in what are the terms and forms and structures of your life. So it starts with actually expressing what we are not able to feel. Okay, so the first surrender, or entering the ark of, let's say, it's the Torah, it's the prayer that it forms in us inside this language, is actually to say we are not able to feel, not ourselves, not the creator, and we are entering a structure that will bestow upon us, or carve us, or influence, or even will strike us with forms that will enable us to feel. And that's the first level. And that's the level of what is called worlds. And then there is another level which has to do with the spirit, meaning what the spirit can feel, can hear, can express, meaning that the lower is actually using itself in order to become the cloth or the dress of the spirit. And then the last level, which is, as you know, the ark is being divided to three, is to do with divinity. And divinity is closest to the opening for the light that we have at the top of the ark. Okay, so it's not only a structure of instruction to know how to build something physical. It's how to go about how humanity, as all of us, as descendants of Noach, what is the structure that will allow us to actually, through the language, through the arc, the structure, to actually move through the value and the meaning of our life. This is what it means, at least. So we move into those three levels through the language. Actually, throughout all cultures and all religions, I hope you bear in mind that I said that Israel is not a religion. Israel in exile is a religion. It's Judaism. Israel in its place, in its actually in its function, carries the memory of the exile, but this is not the definition of the spirit, and then the function of Israel is direct as grace, yeah, working as directly with grace, which means basically, this is parenthesis what I'm saying now. I'm always speaking in parenthesis. So this is speaking about the ability to bestow, but truly. But what I'm trying to say is, throughout the language is actually the only server and point of communication that that was left, at least in the West, for humans to express their plight, their suffering, and their hopes. And it is through the language of prayer. And now we need to sort it out. In the East is the language of silence. But it's all a dialectic of the same dialectic. It's or the presence or the lack of presence or the same thing of the language. Okay. So in a way, Israel prayer should form itself in such a way that it will be the middle line of this silence and language. So it attributes the power of silence. It creates silence inside different volumes of the prayer. We have the volume of non-utterance, the volume of whispering, and the volume of, actually four, and the volume of hearing, and the volume of being led out loud by the leader of the prayer. Okay, so actually you have three. So there are three levels as well of the arc. Okay, so now why it is so important, this Hebrew, because it has in it the most ancient memory of creation. It is always tied to the processes of passing from stage to stage. It speaks about passing through, and it starts with the name that Avraham is getting. Is Avraham Ivri, meaning the Hebrew. Okay, and now it finds itself in a very particular state that can form the structure, which we call impregnation, which can form a new structure that will be more adequate in terms of being able to hear the words of the Creator or the words of God, and will be better able to communicate or to express its will. Okay. So one can say that the ability to pass to pass over, to cross the river, what is called. To cross the river is, in terms of Abraham, is to go from one perception of a creator to a perception that actually can see, can feel its providence. From a general idea that can express itself in many ways, that there is a creator, it's not enough. So Avraham he's moving us through, as well through the language, to a state of being able to see the providence as an act, almost as a personal act, how it acts personally on humanity, on each turn or each round of life. Okay. But Sarah is giving us something else, which is she's giving us, through power of unification, the ability to, and that's more to do with silence, the ability to reconnect. Reconnect is a very weak word to what I'm trying to express. To actually truly feel with meaning the empty space, or the void space, that the vacant space that we are. And this is the meaning of resurrection, of the memory that we could not use during the 6,000 years of Reformation, but it is the driving power behind all the 6,000 years of Reformation. Okay. So in that, this is going through, as I said, the language, which is how to cross over, but as well in Hebrew is to go into impregnation where there is the formation of a new language, the formation of an ability to speak and to hear, reformation of them, okay? And that is speechless. Okay, so this, okay. It's quite interesting, because in this portion, actually the East is more, the Far East is with a much more, we have a heavier emphasis, because it's said that Abraham gave everything to Yitzchak, but everything that he got from Egypt and from the Philistine, all the wisdoms of the other cultures, he gave to all his sons and daughters, other than Yitzchak, that there were, daughters and sons of the concubines. He gave them, and they went to the Far East. Okay, so the origin of it is here. Okay, and then we see that how actually Israel need to be the sim of the two perception. Okay, so language and the absence of language, or the formation of a new language, is very important in spiritual terms. Okay, yes.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a beautiful view. Now we have, this is why we as well need to go and to look at prayer, because we need to see how we use the language. Most prayer of the world, really 99%, and I'm not risking any exaggeration here, we are used to ask for ourselves something that if we invest enough effort with the ability that was given to us, we can achieve by ourselves. Okay, so this is why we went into the study of the prayer, which is study of where actually can we use this language of communication with a higher in such a way which is not falling again into the will to receive to oneself. What is a true prayer? Mm-hmm. And what language, first inner language, we need to use while practicing. Actually, we practice the ability to hear the will of the Creator in order to be able to speak it so it will create something for real. And we are so cut off. So this, okay, we need to reform the language. And that is the arc. Okay.